Just your thoughts and immediate emotions, just everything.
Obviously, I'm so fired up for the kid. I mean, it's something he had been working on. We talked last week about just kind of what he had put into that bye week, how much pressure he puts on himself, and I just felt that I felt like he was in good shape, and I was expecting a great game by him. James and I both had a conversation before the game, and I told him I think he's going to have a spectacular game. I didn't know it'd be record breaking. I wish I could have called that, but I was expecting to have a good game because I saw where he was at, and he's so talented and he's such a great kid. It was just a cool moment for him. It was a cool moment for the specialist in general. Those three guys work together like brothers, and they love each other, and they spend so much time together. They have so much invested interest in each other on the field and off the field. And then you saw the reaction from the players and the energy it brought, and it just shows you how much they care for him. But it's just the team. It just shows you what our team's like around here and where we're going. There was a big momentum factor in that game going into halftime. I feel like we were a different team coming out at half, so it was really cool to just be a part of it and be an impact. On the win. Anytime special teams can be an impact in a good way, I love it. Well, as he kicked it, it sounded good. The first thing I look at typically is the returner deep. And when I see a guy go back there, that makes a coach a little nervous because it is the possibility of a return. The one thing I did look for him as the ball was kicked, he didn't move. And when he didn't move, to me, that meant it was on line. And that was the first thing I looked at was it was on line. I felt pretty good, pretty comfortable because I knew he had the leg strength to get there. And then feeling Logan's reaction, I think about halfway down the field to feel kind of some of the guys could see it. It felt good. And again, it was just good to see. It was cool to see, cool moment for us.
What was the conversation like on the sideline? Cam said he told y'all before the drive if he got to the 50, he'd get it there.
Yeah, I mean, it's something we set the lines pregame, and we have a good idea what that looks like, and we have a line that we started with, and then he told me before the 50, and I of course communicated that with Coach, and as always before that drive, I mentioned that again. We have a line, but he did say the 50. He said if he gets to the 50, he said he wants it. Of course, it goes on second down. And then, of course, it comes up again. And he goes, Heath, what do you think? And as I looked to see, I said he wants it. And as I looked to communicate with Cam as I normally would to see if he really wants it, he was already walking on the field. And I think that told us enough what his plan was. And he kind of looked at me with a smirk and a smile. And I said, Coach, he wants it. So it was great. It was cool. I mean, it's the classic, after him not playing to his best the last few games, I'm sure some people probably were hoping for a nice short one, an easy one. Let's send him out there for the record breaker and see what he can do with that. But I guess it just shows you the belief in him, the belief in himself to never waver. Nobody wavered here. That's the cool thing. Everybody's, no one lost confidence, and so I had no problem sending him out there. It sounds crazy to send him out there in that circumstance. But we knew everyone believed he could make it.
You got this skinny little kid from Arkansas, and if you look at the sidelines, obviously everybody's going to be excited. But it was a race between Josh and Coach to see who could get to him first. Devin Lloyd was jumping around like he was a little kid at Christmas time. I thought Jonah Monheim was going to swallow Cam up. But what does it say about Cam and his relationship with the team that these guys seem to really like him and embrace him, and it doesn't matter whether he makes a kick or not, they were there for him when he was missing.
They love him to death. I mean, he's not like one of those a lot of times when you have specialists, they can be weird at times. He's one of the most popular guys on this team, and I think from a specialist perspective, that's not super normal. We're fortunate here; we have three good ones that's the case, but. I think he's so lovable. I think everyone loves Cam. They love his personality. They love his focus when it comes to his craft. They know he puts more time than anybody, and I think they just love him to death. And I saw that from the first time I went and worked him out when he was still at Arkansas. You know, we went to dinner together, and it was something right away, I'm like, this guy has it. There's something about this kid. You just love him to death.
Is Logan the first guy that knows when a kick's going through the uprights?
Yeah, it usually is. And you know, and there's times when, you know, I even ask him on game day or mid-game, how was that? How did he hit it? And he has a good feel of the sound, the feel, how it got off, just because he's the closest to it, and it's on his hand. I mean, he's the last person to touch it. And he's so talented and has so much experience. He has the ability that he knows right away. I think he knows when he hits it clean. And again, he's the first guy to see it.
Trammell making that return, coming off the sidelines. What does that say about him, and then just the work you guys do in practice to have everybody prepared?
I think it's great. I mean, I think that's cool. Like I said, credit to him. Obviously, he gets reps in practice, but a lot of times those are not, obviously he's not planning on playing in that game, especially in the overtime. But he prepares every single day. He's on practice squad most of the season, never wavered his buy-in, never wavered on preparing like he was going to play week 1 to even this weekend. So he was ready. And the fact that he hit it downhill, he broke a tackle, and then the guy's blocking for him. They blocked it up really clean. That was very, again, it was credit to the guys blocking for him as well, of just clean blocks, sound, just everything was super fundamentally sound. It was perfect.
Game, and did you see Aubrey almost attempted it?
Yes, I actually was watching it live. It was he's very, very talented as well. And, it was like we were watching it kind of going, oh, no way, not for one day. But there's so many talented kickers. This is a record that wouldn't surprise me if it gets broke again. And hopefully our guy, like I said, our guy can break it again. So there's going to be people going after that record. And because these kickers are so talented.
What was the common theme on Raiders' long kickoff returns last week against you guys?
They did a really good job. They had a good plan, and give credit to McMahon. He's a heck of a football coach. I thought they had a really good plan, and then and ultimately it comes back to us. I got to do a better job of really getting back to the details of getting off blocks. We do a good job of leveraging them. Now we got to get back to the fundamentals of getting off blocks, pad level down, more knockback at point of attack. So these are things that we work on a good amount, but I got to emphasize them more, and that's on me. So we'll work on that this week. There's no question about that.
Has having the K-balls this year changed anything at all?
I think it gives the equipment guys more time to do it. As far as the ball, they prepare it the exact same way. He just has more time to do it. So as far as the football perspective, they don't do anything different with the they don't do anything different other than it's more time to do it.
Cam said he was thinking about continuing to use the ball, and Logan had to kind of talk about it. Why would he do that? Why would he just,
Logan's the voice of reason. Boy, he's like the big brother they all listen to.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you guys.
enough time to get there?
Yeah, I think with that, there was times we changed it up to try and play some man coverage just to get on them a little bit tighter. And obviously they made a couple plays, in man-to-man against us. We had one miscommunication there that got us. But, yeah, you're just trying to spin it around, move it around a little bit when that's the case, if they're thinking and dunking, like you said. And then really in the types of zones that you play, there are some more matchier zones, that you can go to. But that's usually what that's really where the onus shifts.
How do you prepare for a quarterback that hasn't made a start this season? Go back to his old tape?
Yeah, you go back to his old tape, and then obviously, last week against Denver, you get a pretty good idea, of who he is and how he operates. But good player. He's athletic, in terms of being able to move in the pocket and get the ball. He's an accurate thrower, get the ball to their playmakers, so that's still a challenge. And looks like a guy that is obviously very decisive and has been there quite a while.
Does the old tape still hold as much value, even though it's a different offense?
Yeah, I mean, just to watch the player, you do definitely go back and look at that. But, yeah, systematically, it doesn't hold as much value. But, yeah, but definitely to watch the guys and kind of see their skill set, for sure.
Vintro's obviously done some good things, but what would getting Devon back kind of mean for you guys?
Yeah, Dev's a big part of everything we were able to do early in the year. Because when I was talking about him in the past, it was more I think Devon really is just capable of doing a lot of things, you know, whether it's the pass coverage, the pass rush, playing in the box as a linebacker, and then playing on the ball. It's really just a unique skill set that way. So it gives us a little bit more in terms of options, things that you can do. And he definitely presents some problems for the offense for sure.
This is the first time we're getting you since Travis went to IR. Just kind of, what does that mean for the defense?
Yeah, I think whenever you lose guys in the season, you know, and you're going into a game plan with one idea and then things shift or change, you're filling out to do what you think is the best or use the best options possible, I would say at that point. But Trav, I felt like was doing a really good job in some of the man-to-man stuff also on third down. Because the thing with him is he's got ball skills, so it's a challenge to throw the ball at a guy like that because he can go ahead and make a play. He's got a great stop-start, you know, and change of direction. So that's what makes him really elite, in my opinion, as a defensive back. So, yeah, losing him, you lose a little bit there, and you try and shift the guys into positions as best you can.
When you were looking at the Raiders, what did you think about Jacoby Myers?
So it's funny, I was talking to him yesterday. When I was in Miami, we played him like twice a year when he was in New England, you know. I'm like, this guy's a total pain in the ass. I mean, like, he just catches everything and he blocks everybody, you know what I mean? Like, he would go in there and you got guys like an 11 personnel, Z receivers usually getting in there and MDM in the safety. And, I mean, he'd go in there like a damn fullback, you know. So I always had a lot of respect for him as a player. And coached against him in college too, actually. But he's really like, when you look at receivers, he's such a you value guys like that so much. You know what I mean? They go make contested catches, and he's tough. I always felt like that. He was a hard guy to defend when we were in Miami because there could be two guys at the point of attack, and he really attacked the football and going up in the air for the ball. A lot of times I remember he made a couple sick catches against us that I'm definitely over by now, but. No, but yeah, I'm happy to have him here, man. He's an awesome dude too.
Devon Hamilton does a lot of the dirty work, probably doesn't get the shine much, but he's got the golden hand after last week. I mean, what does D-Ham mean to this defense?
Everybody on our defense loves D-Ham, but I think what probably gets lost for us as a defense right now at this point, we've been pretty good to this point in the run game. I think we made a significant jump throughout the course of the season, and I would say he is as big a part of that as anybody. You know, you say like he does a lot of the dirty work. He plays double teams, you know, all day, and he plays them as good as anybody I've been around. And coaching in the front and coaching the run game over the years, I think he's, you know, as good as anybody we've had, and he gives us the opportunity to do that and play with depth to the defense because that guy's able to two-gap people, and that really comes down to, like you said, a selflessness, and he really is a technician. You know, if you got any love for people who got love for watching D-line play and guys, you know, playing blocks and whipping blocks, he's done a great job for us that way this year. A couple of the media guys, when they come in on, you know, we're talking about the game on Sunday, and he definitely jumps out to them as well. And he made a huge play for us the other day in the pass game, was, you know, game-changing play. So I love that dude. I think everybody here does. So he's a great dude too.
Josh, tying the franchise record for sacks, just how special was that? I know he is kind of focused on the season right now, but how special was that?
Yeah, you talk to him, it's like you could care less, you know, which I mean that in a positive way. He's just kind of like always talking about business for the most part, you know what I mean, and like how we can get it better and where we can improve, what we can take advantage of next game. He's about as selfless a player as you're going to run into. He really enjoys all the other parts of the game. And like in terms of the rush and all that stuff, he's a guy that like cares about his teammates. So that's been really refreshing, just being around a guy like that. And, you know, obviously I'm happy for him, but I don't feel like he in any way is satisfied, but he's excited to get going again.
Texans been playing with a lot of six lineman fronts.
Yeah.
What was that kind of challenge does that present to you guys?
Yeah, you really got to do a good job at the point of attack. Usually, you feel like most of the times in the NFL, where if you have defensive ends on a tight end, more often than not, especially if that guy's more of a pass catcher, you should have a one-up on him there in the run game. You know, we talk about that all the time. when you play with heavy personnels, they try and make it a more, obviously they're trying to create a stalemate there, right? You know, and not give you the edge. So you got to be a technician in your technique, especially in the run game. You know, and it's going to make you work in a pass game. They keep those guys in and 6-man, 7-man protections. You're working against an offensive tackle again, you know. So that's also part of the reason why guys do it, and that's the challenge of it.
Jordan left the last game early. How hard is it to replace not necessarily the player on the field, but the leadership that he brings to the game for this week?
Yeah, he's such a, savvy vet too. You know what I mean? He just kind of understands everything, and he's done a great job of trying to prepare the guys behind him throughout the whole year, you know. And I think his relationship with Jarian is pretty cool to see. You know, he's always there. They're always kind of working together, talking ball together. Christian Braswell, same way. So he's done a great job. And, in the game, the guy gets hurt, I think the first or second play of the game, and he was right behind me the entire game talking to the other guys. Literally, you could hear him. I could hear him talking behind me and communicating some of the stuff that you're talking about, getting ready for in the game plan during the week, and he's behind you seeing it. So he didn't step away totally from the game when he went down, you know, as bad as he felt. So I have so much respect for him. Love coaching him, and it's awesome to have a guy like that, though. For our team, it's awesome for all the other players, especially in that room, have that dude.
All right, thanks,
I appreciate you
guys.
guys. Thank you.
On the other sideline last week, or what do you think about him? What can he add?
Really excited about what he can add. The presence and the type of person he is, first and foremost, for the room will be a huge addition for those guys to get around a guy who's been experienced, a competitive guy who works and is focused and really tries to master his craft in so many ways. And then similar things that Liam and James have talked about, a guy who plays strong-handed, strong in the run game, strong at the top of his route, strong getting off the ball. He does that at a high level, and then he still has the ability to separate underneath, can run really routes at all three levels, third level, second level, and first level routes. So he'll be a good guy who can play inside, outside. That versatility is huge for the offense, especially as you kind of piece things together and find different roles for him in the middle of the season.
Grant, at some point in the second half, or maybe when you're looking at the game on film, do you think to yourself, second, no penalties, really good third down conversion rate, the run and pass is pretty much balanced, no offensive penalties. Did you think to yourself, this is what this is supposed to look like, this offense?
It's certainly what we've been striving towards, and we came off of the self-scout, and there are so many things to improve, but the thing that always stands out is how much we had beat ourselves in certain games. The times that we struggled, it's because of those things you mentioned, penalties, screwing up assignments, things here and there where we get off schedule. And being able to stay out of those and just play clean football, you see what the guys are capable of when they're in normal situations, just able to go out there and play and execute. It's so hard to live in those situations where you shoot yourself in the put yourself behind the sticks. So that's absolutely what we're trying to be on a consistent basis and continue to be more explosive as we have opportunities that are created by staying on schedule. But it was nice to see us string together a couple of drives of what we've been working towards pretty much since the beginning of the year.
And with the injuries, with this offense is operating at peak efficiency, can it be like a plug-and-play situation? Can you survive injuries and guys still know what to do, can run what you want to run, and it doesn't look like the play will change a whole lot when you had Tim Jones out there.
Yeah, I think that's a credit to him, and it's really dependent on the guys. Who is the guy going in, and what spot is he trying to fill in for? There are certain guys that you're never going to be able to replace, but guys, when they prepare to play different positions and when they have the skill set to play different positions, it keeps that playbook more open than it might be at certain positions where you have to limit things down. Now, there's always going to be certain plays that are designed for specialty players or specialty looks, and you have to adjust those or take those out and adjust how you're going to call the game accordingly. But when you have guys that prepare the way Tim prepares, prepare the way Trammell prepares, and those guys are able to step in a big situation and go out there and execute, it makes life a lot easier on everyone else around them and the play caller, because you can go in there and really run the offense.
What has made Tootin kind of an effective goal line option for you guys this year?
Well, I think his strength and his contact balance, you see a lot of yards after contact. Very few times you see him finishing runs going backwards. And that's huge at the goal line, short yardage, any run really, but it's especially apparent on those where you need one hard yard for a hard run, and he goes out there and is able to get it on looks that aren't always clean. There's oftentimes a guy where they've outnumbered you, so there's a guy there at the point of attack, and you got to be able to run right through a shoulder tackle or run right through an arm tackle. And his strength and ability to accelerate on receiving the ball is what makes him an asset there.
Wildcat, how many reps did it take in practice for you guys to feel comfortable snapping it to Travis, having him make the decision?
Well, like Liam mentioned, it's over the course of weeks of getting all of those reps. I don't know if I could pinpoint an exact time where you say, okay, now you're exactly 100% comfortable, but it certainly wasn't the first time. But after a couple of weeks with a guy like that who is able to learn and do things at a high level, do new things especially, you feel pretty confident after a couple of reps when he does it consistently at a high level and is able to execute cleanly. Of course, we're trying to mitigate as much risk as possible, so we probably over-prepared and made sure that we had more reps than maybe we needed. But after a couple of good reps and seeing those guys do it, and really him practicing with a couple of different guys and a couple different iterations of it, felt good about showing those plays and going out there and executing them in some crunch time moments, on Sunday.
How impressive, or how impressed, I should say, are you with the ability of the offense to kind of win those gritty games, like Trevor, no touchdown passes, two rushing touchdowns? How impressive is that?
Yeah, it's another thing when we talk about the guys being able to go in there and play, and it's kind of a testament to their preparation. It's a testament to the identity of the offense and the group as a collective whole. That's who they are. That's the way they win games. That's the way they practice. That's the way they work. And nobody was fazed when we were down, or even in the first half when we were playing ugly. We didn't start to play cleaner football until we got into the late second quarter, into the second half. And the guys were resilient with their mindset and their effort and their finish every single play. And that's really the identity that we're trying to build, and that's who they kind of embody out there on the field. So, that's something that takes a lot of work, and it's the way they practice. It's who they are every day. It's not something that you just show up on Sunday and say, I'm going to flip the switch, and now all of a sudden we're going to play really hard and be able to win grimy games. They're going to go in there and work every day to have that, outcome be possible on Sunday.
Cole Van Landon, how much trust and belief do you have in that guy?
A lot. I think we've talked about it a couple of times with the versatility of a couple different offensive linemen, and really throughout the spring and training camp, guys playing left, guys playing right, guys playing inside at guard, playing outside at tackle. He's taken snaps. He's played all 5 positions on the offensive line, and then he's running back and forth on and off the field reporting as an eligible tight end, however many times it was, 15, 20 times in the game, and then goes in there and plays guard. That's not easy to do, to switch positions. It's a totally different world being on the edge and then going inside at guard. So not only to prepare to do both of those things, but then in a game to actually go out there and do it, I can't say enough good things about Cole and his effort to prepare and then his effort actually on the field. So a ton of trust in a guy like that.
How much did the game plan or the play calling have to change at the end of the Raiders game just because of the personnel you had available? You were down to your last few receivers. You basically had one healthy tight end left. Cole Van Landon was on the line. You had planned for him to be on the edge. I mean, how does that?
It definitely caused a little bit of chaos, but that's why you do all the preparation and go through every conditional pregame of, okay, what if this guy goes down? What if that guy goes down? What if these 3 guys go down all at the same time? And you try to have plans and backup plans and backup plans to the backup plans of things you're going to get to. Most games, it doesn't show up. You do all that preparation every week, and then at the end of the game on Sunday, you're like, well, you did hours and hours of preparation for different conditional plans that never happened. This so happens to finally come up, and thankfully the guys and the coaching staff, the assistant coaches did a great job, phenomenal job preparing their guys for all of those different roles. Chuma going in there at the end and playing tight end, a bunch of different calls. So we were able to still call a relatively normal game. There's always going to be a couple things you take off the plate just from a standpoint of ease and execution. But because those guys had done so much work preparing for all of the different things that could happen, the coaches, the assistant position coaches, and the position coaches and the players, we were able to go out there and execute a bunch of different plays that we needed, the plays we really needed to get to at the end at a high level to go down and win, which was huge.
Hey, Grant, on your staff, you have Trevor Mendelson, who's a first-year NFL guy.
Yeah.
What do you remember about 2020 and your first NFL season, about the foundation of this?
Yeah, mine was certainly a little bit different because of COVID, so it kind of threw a wrench in it. But it's a learning curve for sure, because there are differences, probably more differences than I had realized at the time between college football and the NFL. I think people make a big deal about the differences in the players and say, well, these are professionals, those are college players. But the football on the grass and dealing with players is very similar in a lot of ways. you still are forming relationships with the players. You still care deeply about these guys on and off the field, and you still are so fired up when you see them go out there and succeed or execute something that they've been practicing at or working at for a long time. So a lot of those fundamental aspects of coaching remain the same. It was really more of an adjustment to, here's the schedule. If the game's on Sunday, you have to different weekly flow. The off season's a little bit different. Now mine was crazy because it was in COVID, so we were virtual. We weren't doing OTAs. Even training camp was a little bit different. Everybody was separated for spacing purposes. But I think there's so many things that are similar from dealing with people and coaching, like those foundational principles are the same. But learning the schedule and new ways of doing things was definitely foreign. I think the one thing that probably caught me by surprise more so than I would like to admit is you get through a college season and you finish 12 games, and then you look up and you're like, oh man, we still got like 5 more and potentially even more games after this when you're ready to be done. We came off the bye this past week, or 2 weeks ago now at this point, and you really are looking at it from a guy like Trevor or a guy who's a rookie and say, you still have basically a whole college season left. Like you just got to the bye week and you have basically what you've been doing as an entire season ready for the rest of the year. So that's definitely a mindset shift in terms of how long the season is. Those weeks kind of start to stack together. It gets longer than you realize.
How much has Houston's defense improved even since week 3?
Yeah, the level that they're playing at, the numbers speak for themselves. They've been dominant in really all areas of the game. So they've improved. They were really good defense when we played in week 3. Unfortunately for us, they've continued to improve. Right, those guys fly to the ball in coverage, the rush, the run game. They've been lights out. So it's hard to pinpoint one area that they've improved because they've improved in all phases. I mean, you're not the top defense in the league without really being solid across the board.
How can you get the offense off to a faster start in the first quarter?
I think we got to continue to find the things that we do well and go out there and make sure we're prepared to execute those things at a high level. And as coaches, we got to continue to find ways to get guys to settle in and be able to perform at the level we know they're capable of performing at. You see what they're capable of at the end of the game when kind of the nerves wear out and they get into a rhythm. So the challenge to us is how can we get them in the best situation possible early, right away from the get-go, and make sure they feel comfortable to go out there and execute right away. We know that they're capable of that, and we're capable of getting in a groove, but we got to continue to try to find ways, whether it's schematically or different personnels, or even the way we prepare on Saturday or Friday at the end of the week when we start kind of dialing in on how we want to start the game, changing up and doing more or maybe doing less or taking different avenues to prepare those guys.
Thank you.